Hello fellow forest classroomers, welcome to my video of my science lesson. I have titled it Environmental Issues in My Backyard and Abroad. The target age for this group would be high school students, typically in an environmental science or natural resource or a global contemporary issues class. I know we were supposed to design either a science or a social science project, but I kind of combined them into one lesson. So for this lesson, I want students to really think critically and not only about the ecology and nature and the natural resources around them, but also globally and abroad. So it has both components. So the assessments for this project would really be in the form of a report and a presentation. I really don't like tests as a form of assessment. I don't feel like they really accurately capture what students have gained and what students know about a subject. So, the first step of the lesson is you want to spend several hours or several class periods. This project could take place over several weeks. It's definitely not a project that would be just for one class time. So you'd spend several hours or several class periods talking to students about different natural resource concepts, different issues in ecology. So you might go over soil, you might go over climate and precipitation, ecosystems, the flora, the fauna, topography, all of those things that would be incorporated. So like here in the Willamette Valley, I would talk a lot about like maybe the Missoula floods shaping the Willamette Valley, and I would talk about the mountains and the rain shadow effect on the eastern side and how we get so much water here because of the mountains. I would talk about the native species of this region and different things like that. So we're really wanting to spend several hours to educate students about issues that impact the world environmentally. And one of those, a big one, would be climate change, desertification, loss of species and habitat. So after you spend several class periods going over that, you would break students into groups of about 3 to 4. And then you would travel to a forested or natural resource area, typically really close to your school. So they feel very connected to the area. They feel very close. So once we're in that natural area, I want students to record observations, what is present, but also what is absent. If they don't notice any animals, I definitely would want them to write that down, why they don't notice any animals, like what could be contributing to the lack of biological diversity. So they would record their observations, and then they would just spend some time in the natural area quietly thinking and observing. I think this quiet time is really critical to help them kind of connect to this space and just really think about it in depth. So after they've had their own personal quiet thinking time, they would discuss in a group their observations and what they see and think and feel, and with the instructor or other classroom helpers. So they would talk about things like maybe invasive species, or if they witness erosion, urban development, loss of habitat. Once they've identified the environmental or natural resource issue, then you guys are able to return to the classroom. The next steps is for students to come up with a solution for a problem that they've identified in the area. So if it's erosion of a stream bank, they would come up with solutions that they've researched. So maybe it could be planting more plants in the riparian area or diverting water that's causing the erosion. So that would be really on them to see what other people have done to solve these problems and then what they would like to do. And it can be a completely new idea. This is where students are able to be really creative and they can come up with something all on their own that they think might work. So after all that is done, they would compile their observations, the issues they identified, and their solution into a report. And then the second part of the lesson, which was kind of my second lesson, it was have students return to their groups that they were in the first lesson. They would go to a computer lab and they would research a place abroad. So it would be kind of one targeted space, not like Russia or Australia. It would be a specific kind of ecosystem within that area. And they would record the ecology of that place. They would do some research, kind of like they did of their observation, but since they can't do an observation, they will rely on the observation of others. They'll identify a natural resource or environmental issue that's happening in that area. And then they would design a solution for the problem in that area that they have identified. After the solution that they've come up, they will create a report of their findings and the solution for the issue that they identified. And then they'll create a presentation for both of their reports and creative solutions that they've come up for identifying a natural resource or environmental problem. So I really think this is a really cool lesson plan. It could obviously be spread out to a whole term, or definitely multiple weeks. One thing that I wanted to add was in the presentation, I really would like them to do anything that they wanted to do. They could create a rap song about the solution they identified. They could create a play or a skit, or it could be a poster or a PowerPoint. This, I think, really helps students kind of connect to the issues more by using their passions to present the information. So that's about it. I think another reason why this is really important is we sometimes get so boxed into our own little world and we don't think about the issues abroad, or if we do, we don't feel like we have any power or resources to solve them. And I really hope that this project would give students a view of home, a worldview, and the feeling that they could make a difference and do something positive. Yeah, so that's my lesson, my science and social science lesson. I hope you all are having a good term, and I will see you later.